Now, this is a statement I've heard many times in my office. Women who thought their marriage was over, who believed their feelings had changed, later realized it was their hormones, not their husband, not their marriage. Hormonal shifts can completely change how you see and feel about the person closest to you. Now, that's me. I'm Dr. Eldred Taylor, and for over 30 years, I've helped patients balance their hormones, restore their health, and in many cases, save their marriages. Today, I want to share with you the connection between hormones and relationships because most couples never hear about this until it's too late. And I'll be honest with you, the reason why I'm so connected to this is because I've been married for 39 years. And my wife and I, we've gone through those hormonal changes, her hormonal changes and mine. And I know those roadblocks that can end a marriage. There's different stages that can end a marriage if you don't understand what's going on and work through them. The reason why my wife and I wrote our book, Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? Is because I could see as an OBGYN and also my wife as a physician could see that something was going on as my wife became more mature, got into her mid to late 30s. We saw that her attitude changed, and her attitude toward me and my attitude toward her changed, and we wondered why. And then we discovered it was her and my hormones making us sick. So that's my personal connection, and I want to walk you through how you can get through this just like we've been able to do it. Now, here are some hidden marriage records. So let's talk about these. Now, low progesterone can lead to anxiety and irritability and restless sleep in women. Low testosterone drains energy and intimacy, especially in men more than women. Now, estrogen, or the progesterone estrogen balance, can shift, and that brings mood swings and brain fog. And then high cortisol, our stress hormone, shuts down the connection to all of these hormones. Now, these imbalances create tensions that feel personal, but it's actually chemical. So you just need to understand that this is your biology at work. It's not that your husband or your wife is changed or whatever. The biology has changed. So then the relationship has to adapt to these changes. Now, these shifts don't just affect your health, they affect how you see your partner. The little things they do suddenly feel unbearable. You feel distant, disconnected, and misunderstood. And without realizing it, the relationship starts to feel broken. And that's what happens. It slips up on you. Sometimes it's not a sudden change. It's this gradual change where you begin to not actually enjoy the company of your spouse anymore because your biology has changed, and therefore your feelings have changed, and therefore your relationship changes. So you really need to understand this. And now we're going to talk about the different stages where it is most likely to happen. Now, here's one of the most common times this shows up is after children. A woman's hormones shift dramatically after she has a child. Her focus naturally moves to the baby, and the partner often feels pushed aside. Now, too many couples misinterpret this as rejection, but it's not rejection. It's actually biology at work. Now, I'll tell you, I definitely experienced this, and I've heard it from men and women all the time, is that when that baby comes, now, if that woman has real maternal instincts, she will make that baby the number one priority. All Nothing else matters. And I try and tell guys, when you have children, the relationship between you and your wife will never be the same again because the woman's hormones automatically makes her focus on the care and the nurturing of that child. And I used to make a joke when I was speaking is that once you have children, for that woman, sex is on her list of priorities, somewhere right around mopping the floor. Is that mopping the floor is more important than having sex sometimes because now she is trying to make sure that the home is ready or comfortable for the baby. She's concerned about the right schools, the right nutrition. All of that becomes number one priority in most women's lives after they've had a child. And men, you just have to accept it. Is that if you help, if you can help and take some of that nurturing away from her, then maybe she will have time to even consider having sex. So you just need to know that. And you shouldn't let that break up the family, because the relationship between the mother and the father is the backbone of the family. So if you care about your children, you need to understand this stage of life. And if you get through it, there are great rewards waiting for you as you can are there to see your children grow up. And that relationship can still be great even after the children arrive. Okay, let's say you've made it through the childbearing and the childhood raising years. So now you are an empty nester. That's another turning point where a lot of couples end up getting divorced. And that's what we're talking about, gray divorce, is these couples who've been married, that raise their children, they see their children graduate from college, and now they have an empty nest. And then here's another big breaking point if you don't understand what's going on. So when the kids leave, what has happened is that for years the marriage has revolved around raising the kids. That becomes the joint venture. But once the children are gone, many couples look at each other and realize they've lost touch. They have to reacquaint themselves, and this shift can be painful. Now, at the same time, I've seen many successful men who, after conquering the business world, begin searching for a new challenge. And sometimes they think that challenge is finding a younger woman, a way to prove their masculinity again, another challenge that they can conquer. But the truth is, you don't need a new wife. You just need a new life. You need a new challenge. You don't need to break up your marriage for a spark. What you really need is a new purpose. And that's what I found. Not that I was looking for a new wife, but I found a new purpose. And that purpose was to create this ageless blueprint. That was my purpose. And the reason why I created this is because I went through a transformation and became a new person and increased my vitality, even though I was 64 years old, is that I found a new life. And through that, our relationship was revitalized. And we are so much closer now. I'm so glad that we fought through all of these challenges, through the raising of children, through the empty nest. And we've had an empty nest for now probably 10 years. But it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Those empty nest realization years, they were sometimes not pretty. And we just had to struggle through them. But I am so glad we did. And this is why I'm talking about this, because if you can get to the other side, you can have a beautiful relationship even after 20, 30, 40 years of marriage. And we're seeing record levels of divorce after 20, 30 years of marriage. Is what's called gray divorce. Couples think they've just grown apart, but many of these separations began much earlier, years earlier, with silent hormone changes. And by the time they realize it, the distance feels too great. And believe me, just yesterday, I saw two people who I hadn't seen in quite a while. And I asked them how they were doing. Both of them, and these were two women, they said, "Oh, I just got divorced." I mean, within the last 2 or 3 months. And one of them had been married for 30 years. I remember going to her wedding. And it was just so surprising to me that I was planning this video. And just yesterday, I saw two people who epitomized what I'm talking about today. And I know several other couples over the years that we've been married for 39 years who have gotten divorces at those certain stages of life. And again, it's just about understanding each other and the changes that we go through as we age. And that's why I talk about in the Ageless Blueprint, We want to go from aging to ageless. We don't want age to dictate how we live our lives. We want to live our lives to the fullest throughout our lifespan. All right? So that's what this is all about. So the truth is, your marriage might not be broken. It might just be your hormones. Now, once you understand that, everything changes. What looks like rejection or indifference may actually be a solvable health issue. So before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a clear next step. If you've been struggling with energy, mood, or connection in your relationship, don't ignore it. Get your hormones tested. But here's the key, not through blood testing alone or at all. Saliva testing tells us what's actually active in your body, and that makes all the difference. If you're not familiar with saliva testing, don't worry. I've created videos on my YouTube channel that explain it in detail. You can also visit Ageless Blueprint to learn how to properly test your hormone. Now, this is a picture of my wife and I. This was June of 2025, and this is at our 39th wedding anniversary. We spent it in Mexico. And we took pictures because we feel like we are two new people in a whole new relationship. My wife and I, since I transformed myself in October of 2024, I feel like I've become a new person. I have transformed myself into the person that I was destined to be. And that's maybe hard for you to understand, but you can actually become a new person at any age and at any stage of your life. And that's what I discovered, and that's what I'm trying to let other people know. My wife and I, we said, hey, we should go and renew our vows, on our 40th anniversary. But my wife said, you know what? Since we are becoming new people and we are different and we change every day, we need to renew our vows every day. And that was so profound. And that's what we do. We renew our commitment to each other every single day. And I think that is a great way to maintain a relationship till death do you part. And finally, I want to invite you to our free community. Now, this is where you'll get education, support, and tools to start rewriting your blueprint for a healthier, more vibrant life. Now, remember, you don't need a new marriage, you need a new blueprint. Now, this is my wife and I at that same vacation, and we just sat there looking at the ocean and realizing how nature, if we just stand and wait, is that nature will bring opportunities to us, just like the ocean brings waves into the shore. Is that what we were contemplating? Actually, someone saw us, and they asked if they could take a picture of us. And this is how we look at our future, is that we have opportunities that will come to us, and this is an opportunity that I am taking advantage of to be able to give this message to anyone who wants to hear it. So I have links to those different areas. I have a handout for you you can download, and please check the link and join our free community in the Ageless Blueprint. And I hope to see you there. And I hope this message, touches someone, and maybe they reevaluate their relationship, and they can get to the point where my wife and I are on that beautiful journey through the rest of our lives.